And the question is, are they going too far by bringing back Ted Lasso after it's been so great? But right now, it looks like we're getting a season 4 of Ted Lasso. So let's talk about that in our featured story of the night. I love Ted Lasso. I think they did a great job with this show. I mean, Jason Sudeikis, what he made from going to be a personality, like a character he made for SNL for like on SportsCenter to making this hit show that's brought a lot of heart and joy to people's lives. Well, the 4th season might be happening now because they haven't officially announced it, but they're actually going and getting the cast and putting them on deals right now. So once that starts happening, it seems like we are moving forward. But 3 original cast members have been signed on to come back. Hannah Waddingham's been attached to it. Brett Goldstein's attached to it, and Jeremy Swift, who of course played Higgins. So you have Roy Kent, you got Higgins, and you got Hannah coming back too, Richmond owner Rebecca Walton. So you have them coming back, and on top of the reaching out to other cast members, the actual football players, and if they're trying to make sure if their deals have run out, because there are all these deals they hold on for a little time after the show's done. If they are run up, they are renegotiating with them right now. On top of that, Jason Sudeikis apparently has been talking to them. So this is moving forward. A big notification will come up big announcement, I guarantee, within the next week. But the fact they're actually signing people back on, looking at old contracts, it's all pointed going that way. Now, it'll be a spinoff. It could be. They did set it up for a little spinoff at the end. They could go really well. But I think we're going to have everybody come back in some form. Maybe it doesn't start with Ted Lasso being there, but he has to come back for something. They're going to find a way if they are moving forward. But the question puts it out there. It was a good finale.
Right?
It was what?
I don't know the character name. The blonde in that picture?
Yeah. Waddingham.
They interviewed her on Channel 5 this morning about
what was she saying about it?
Well, she couldn't say it, but she said it. Basically, it's coming about. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Once you sign them on like this and you get these deals moving forward, it's like the writing's on the wall. The fact they're going after all the cast members, I guess Jamie Tart, who plays Jamie Tart, he's got another show too, so they're not sure they'll have him come back. But good news for the actors, yeah, they're going after them all and trying to get him back for the show. I think it's great for it. It's a fun show. It has a lot of heart. But you're always worried about, like, as Jason Sudeikis said too, it's like he ended it a certain way, they had a plan to end a certain way, and they got their ending. But it had so many Emmy nods, they won so many awards. Again, they want to bring it back. But is that a bad thing to do in this franchise, or is there a lot more like oomph in that boat to move forward and bring more content forward? What do you think, Rachel? Do you think that a show like this, after going so well and doing so big numbers, should it come back, or should it be able to be left alone because it had a good finale?
I think if they had an ending in mind and they were able to achieve that ending, you let it be over. You don't try to bring it back. You can do a spin-off if you really want to, I guess, but you don't have to include all of the main cast. Like, spin-offs generally don't include all of the main cast. All of the many Cheers spin-offs only had 1 or 2 cast members that followed it. And they worked for that reason.
Look at Fraser Crane right now, too.
Yeah, reboot of Frasier. Why?
It's still going. Still going. That's another spinoff. Still going. But it's a reboot of a
spinoff that got a reboot. It's insane.
I know. It's wild.
So if you want to follow a side character, or maybe one of like a recurring character that wasn't a main character, sure, cool, do it. I've never watched this show, so again, I don't really have a dog in this race. But
you gotta check it out.
We talked about this earlier.
I know, we've talked about it. You gotta check it out.
It's fine. It's okay. Not every show has to be for me. But
yeah, that's true.
I think if the creators wanted to end it a certain way and they achieved it, you don't need to continue it.
Yeah, and that's always the word. It's always worried because the shows do come back, and then you lose a lot of the heart that you had before, and then they're struggling to make conversations or they're struggling to make storylines that work. And I know that Jason Sudeikis said like he wasn't going to do this, and then they all said they weren't going to do it without him. And they said it was up to him. I know the studio said that, and he must have said he wanted to do something with it. Maybe he came up with an idea that's going to work really well. I do trust him because I trust what he's done with this show. I never thought this would be for me. I'm like about a football team in the UK, like, is that going to be for me? But honestly, the way they touch on again, mental illness is a big thing they touch on here, and what he goes through and having a mental breakdown and how they address that, and like how it's fine to take therapy into sessions. People like, he's the nicest guy in the world. Well, why would he need therapy? And then you show behind closed doors what he's actually going through with his divorce and how he's trying to come back from it. And now he's in a foreign country and he's got to run this whole team that he never is meant to be doing. Like, he played regular football, not soccer. So it's interesting how they put these twists on things, and they have a lot of in-depth conversations that come from it. And that's why I think it's a great show too, on top of just being a show about soccer, which is more than that. So if they can get that,
I'm not shitting on the show or anything. Like, people who enjoy it, absolutely.
That's why I was shocked that it was for me. Like, I never thought it was for me.
I'm sure it's good.
You never know, though. You never know, like, what kind of audience will keep bringing forward. I'm excited about it, but I'm also hesitant. Always hesitant. GR, did you check out Ted Lasso? Have you seen it? Do you believe that this needs to be moved forward again for season 4?
Well, if they want, they can. But I agree with Rachel. They had it. They had a wrap. They had a storyline. Let it go. I'm in the same club with Rachel. I never watched a minute of it.
Oh man, you're missing out. Missing out, thirsty daddy.
I saw clips of it, Brian.
Yeah.
Didn't do a thing for me.
I know. The thing is, like, you would never see. I think that until you actually watch it and you see how the characters bring to life and the heart and the joy of it, it's it's a lot different. Yeah, it's a lot soccer, Edward Hyde, but it's more than that. It's UK, we call it football, of course, there, but it's about more. Like they say, football is life, and but football. What they do with the character, what they do with it, really, it's about the characters, about the acting, the performances. Honestly, there's Jason Sudeikis. I never would say, like, I thought I was honestly he's good, but like I never knew he had what he had in him when he actually did this performance as this character. So it's interesting. Lexi, what do you think? Is this one of those things too that the fan base is there? People want more, and should we listen to the audience? That it sounds like they're listening to the audience, like they want more. So let's make it happen. Is that a good thing in this case? I don't think you've watched this either, but is that a good thing for this case to give the audience what they want? Because sometimes the audience isn't right, but sometimes they are. And if there's a story there, shouldn't we get it?
Obviously, I have also not watched this one as well. But, like, a show can be about sports. I was a big fan of Eastbound Down, one of my favorite shows. So,
yeah.
One of the best shows I've ever seen. But it doesn't have to be about the subject necessarily. The subject can just be what brings you to the show, kind of, like, brings you to the subject, like you were saying. But it never interested me. It never looked like my kind of thing. That's why I never watched it from the get-go. But you guys were always, the first time I ever heard about it was on your show, actually. It was the first time I ever heard of the show.
Oh yeah.
So also it wasn't heavily advertised to me in a way.
We don't watch Apple TV.
Right. Like that's the other thing with a lot of these things, like it just wasn't like properly advertised to me. Another one of these things that just never was like sold to me in the right way kind of thing. Regardless of that, if a creator has an idea of what they want and they, followed through on that, then they should have the right to just be done. And I think when people are like, well, I want more, and you're like, you could sit there and you can go, well, someone hands you enough money and hands you enough, idea that this time around you can do this, and this time around you can do this, and you get ideas.
They want to beat the hell out of a dead horse. They don't appreciate a limited series.
And
that's always a worry.
I'm someone who, I don't want to go back in the day, but I grew up with like OVAs, which are like limited, animes that were literally like 3 episodes or like 6 episodes long. Those are fantastic to me. I miss that. You know what I mean? I miss, miniseries or like, things like that, like 6-episode things, 5-episode things. When Chernobyl came out on HBO, that was one of the best things I ever watched. Yeah. I don't want more Chernobyl. You know what I mean? I think Chernobyl is perfect in its form. I think it told exactly what it needed to in its very short run. It did everything it needed to. I hate long form television. Like, as much as I hate television shows that keep shortening their seasons. If you gave me 13 episodes a season, give me 13 episodes every season after that. Don't go 8 after that and then 6 after that. Like, that's bullshit too. But I'd like a show that can give me 2 solid seasons. If you gave me 2 of the best seasons of television I've ever watched and you did it cohesively, then I will praise your show much more than a show that's on for 26 seasons and it's still going. Right. I don't want to watch that. Every show
when to let something go and when to end something.
Things will always have a lull when they are going on for a very long period of time. There's no way it can't, no matter how deep your story gets or whatever. I'm a big fan of Berserker. Berserker started in 1988, and its creator died in 2008. So it's a long-running series. There's clearly a lull in there somewhere, right? But it's still one of the best things I've ever read in my entire life. That doesn't mean there's not a lull in there somewhere. Between that 30 years.
Everything has that.
Mad Men is my favorite show of all time. I love Mad Men. 7 seasons. That's it. And I would not ask for more because there's nowhere else to go with that story. That story has ended. With another show I really enjoyed as for comedies, The Good Place has a solid ending. There's nowhere to go for there.
I love The Good Place. It's so great. It's so great. And the ending is perfect. It's perfect, too. Mm-hmm. I still think it's crazy that Jason from The Good Place was the villain on Acolyte from Star Wars. Right? I'm like, how was he like the sexy Sith? I have no idea. But that was Jason. So good for him.
He was a himbo on Good Place. He was still hot. He was just really stupid.
He was really, he was such a good actor, But then the thing about Ted Lasso too is I have hesitancy because it was so good. And again, they could have done like the second season. I feel like was a little step down, but the third season was great. Like the first season was awesome, the third season was great, and it's like the way that it ended. They kind of wrapped everybody's storylines up, in a bow. So it's like they did leave it open to have like a new coaching team come in with some of the other side characters. So maybe we just focus on that with what they do with the team, as opposed to having Ted Lasso come back and just have him be a showrunner and a writer. You could do that, and you let Roy Kent, who was Brett Goldstein, who's been blowing up everywhere. He's also on Shrinking coming out. He's blowing up. He's everywhere. He's fucking great. Stand-up comedian, writer.
But
got himself a job.
You gotta just let things end because, like, we all remember the last season of Scrubs.
Oh, that's getting rebooted too now.
Why?
It's coming back. Zach Braff said that they're working on a reboot. They're working on a reboot. Yep.
What Scrubs you had? I think what was it? 7 solid seasons, 7 or 8 seasons, and then the 8th or 9th season was a completely different cast. It was awful.
They've been having so much fun with T-Mobile commercials. They're coming back.
The final season of Scrubs is hailed by Scrubs fans as one of the worst seasons of Scrubs. Like, Scrubs fans don't even want another season of Scrubs because this final season was so fucking bad. I dated a Scrubs fan. She fucking hated it. It was the worst thing she ever saw. Miserable. Yeah. Miserable.
Please don't think I'm a Scrubs fan.
No, it was a terrible time in my life. But like, let me tell you, like, when they're mad, like she was mad about that. Like they didn't like that series, and so why would you want to make more of that? Let me tell you, like, the greatest things I've ever watched are an average of 26 episodes. Like, the greatest anime series I ever watched, the greatest television series, the greatest things I ever completed are an average of 26 episodes. 26 episodes is about the average of when I feel something is really going to just finish itself out and be solid. That's about the amount of time you need. 26 episodes, about half an hour an episode. You know what I mean?
I'll give it 5 solid seasons.
Yeah, five seasons.
Five is great. 5 is great, But make them like 18 episodes at least. Yeah. 18 episode season at least. I used to love when he had like 21, 25, 24. 24, the original 24 was 24 episodes, an hour each episode.
Is standard. 12 is standard.
My favorite went 11 and wrapped up totally and let it go.
Yeah.
A little thing called MASH.
Oh, MASH, yeah.
I was in the MASH.
That was one of the greatest shows ever made.
It's still hailed as one of the greatest shows ever made.
Yeah, MASH.
And as a guy that's been in combat, you look at that, and they let you know intermittently about the horrors of war without making it about war.
Right. It was a show about the Korean War that lasted longer than the Korean War, but was made during the Vietnam conflict. And it was actually kind of
peace, love, and nappiness.
Was a interesting.
But that last show for 20 years was the most watched television show ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's when you have a hit like that, and it goes and it goes and goes, and it's just like it does, but that was needed. Like at that time, it worked really well, and what they were doing with that, like it was very formulaic in a way too, because it was like every episode was like its own thing, right? There was no like big flowing storyline. It was very episodic, that show.
And so that storyline was the love affair between the idiot surgeon and the gorgeous nurse.
Yeah. There
and
you go.
then they took that off and married her off. And
Well, that's why that show could go for a long time. A show like Ted Lasso, I worry because it is narrative driven. It is a storyline they've wrapped up in a bow. It wasn't episodic. Episodic shows can go a long time, unless you do something like 24. Like I said before, like you know everything is a day, and so you wrap up the whole day in 24 episodes. But this, I don't know. I'm hesitant, everybody, about Ted Lasso. I do love Ted Lasso. I know there's a lot of people that didn't watch in the chat, but I love Ted Lasso. I love what they did with it. I was a little bummed about one thing at the ending, but that's okay. It's okay. You can be, and I think that Ted Sudeikis put a lot of time in it. You know what I mean? Ted Sudeikis, not Ted Sudeikis, Ted Lasso. Jason Sudeikis put a lot of time into it, and I think at the end of the day he should be probably made. And I hope that he doesn't ruin that by doing another season, unless it is warranted for something. Unless it's got something great, I'll leave it alone. But I'll watch it. I'm just hesitant. Ted Lasso's coming, everybody. Writing's on the wall. Get ready for it.
You don't want to end up like Silicon Valley. Then you'll just be stale and terrible for season after season.
Nobody wants that.
Ended.
well,
Eventually, I rip that Band-Aid off. Eventually, the Band-Aid has to come off.
Yeah.
But Ted Lasso, everybody. We'll see.
Yo, player, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the Pep Star needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.